back, fellow seekers of the unexplained, to another mind-bending episode of Atlas Anomalies. Today, we're embarking on a journey through the skies to explore the most perplexing and enigmatic flight mysteries that have baffled the world. Buckle up, because these stories will send shivers down your spine. Our first entry takes us to the depths of the Pacific Ocean, where an entire Boeing 777 vanished into thin air. That's right, we're talking about Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370. This aircraft departed on March 8, 2014 from Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Malaysia, bound for Beijing Capital International Airport in China. However, the flight disappeared from radar screens and lost contact with air traffic controllers less than an hour after takeoff. Subsequently, the aircraft's transponder, which communicates the plane's position, altitude, and identity, was deliberately disabled or malfunctioned, making it disappear from radar screens. After disappearing from radar, the plane made a series of unusual and erratic movements. It is believed to have made a sharp turn to the left and then a right turn, flying back over the Malaysian peninsula. Radar data indicated that it might have flown for several hours after losing contact. Investigation revealed that several communication systems on the aircraft were systematically shut down. The aircraft communications addressing and reporting system was disabled before the final communication. This led investigators to believe that the actions taken were deliberate rather than the result of a catastrophic failure. An extensive international search and rescue operation was launched in the South China Sea, later shifting to the southern Indian Ocean, where satellite data suggested the aircraft's possible flight path. However, despite a massive search effort involving multiple countries, the wreckage was not located for several years. Over the year, several pieces of debris confirmed to be from MH370 began washing up on the shores of the western Indian Ocean in 2015, which provided critical evidence that the plane had indeed crashed into the ocean. The disappearance of MH370 has generated a multitude of theories and speculations, ranging from pilot suicide to hijacking, mechanical failures, or a catastrophic event on board. The true cause of the disappearance remains unconfirmed. Recently, new pieces of the aircraft have washed up on the island of Reunion, which have led scientists to believe to be closer to solving this mystery. Our journey now takes us to 1947, where a British South American Airways Avro Lancastrian vanished over the Andes, while en route from Buenos Aires, Argentina to Santiago, Chile. The aircraft was carrying 6 passengers and 5 crew members. The flight crew maintained regular radio communication with the airport during the early part of the flight. However, as the aircraft approached Santiago, the radio transmission suddenly became strange and mysterious. The last radio transmission from Stardust was a Morse code message, Stendek. The meaning of this word was unknown and baffled both the ground operators and aviation experts. To this day, the origin and intended meaning of Stendek remain a subject of debate and speculation. Following the Stendek message, Stardust failed to arrive at its destination in Santiago as scheduled. Despite extensive search efforts, the aircraft and its occupants could not be located. The aircraft's disappearance remained a mystery for decades. It wasn't until 1998 that the wreckage of Stardust was discovered high in the Andes Mountains. The crash site was at the base of Mount Tupungato, a remote and treacherous location. The discovery of the wreckage raised more questions than it answered. However, it is believed that the aircraft encountered severe turbulence and adverse weather conditions in the Andes, which might have contributed to the crash. However, the exact sequence of events leading to the crash remains speculative. And while the discovery of the wreckage provided some closure to the families of those on board, the Stendek message and the circumstances surrounding the crash continue to be a source of intrigue and curiosity in aviation history. Now, let's go back in time to 1942. The ghost blimp of the US Navy drifted ashore in California with no crew on board. The mystery of the ghost blimp of 1942 is a strange and unsolved aviation incident involving a US Navy airship that drifted ashore in California with no crew on board. On the morning of August 16, 1942, the L-8, also known as the ghost blimp, took off from Treasure Island Naval Base in San Francisco, California, on a routine anti-submarine patrol mission. The blimp was crewed by two experienced Navy personnel, Lieutenant Ernest Cody and Ensign Charles Adams. The blimp was equipped with sophisticated radio equipment, and everything seemed normal until radio operators on the ground received a series of distress calls from the L-8. The crew reported that they had spotted an oil slick and an object resembling an oil drum floating in the ocean. Within hours of sending these distress calls, the L-8 was seen drifting, seemingly unmanned, over the city of Daly City, California. It eventually came to rest on a street, and when authorities boarded the blimp, they found it completely empty. The parachute flares and life jackets on board were unused, and the aircraft showed no signs of damage. The disappearance of Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams, both experienced aviators, raised numerous questions. Why did they abandon the blimp? Why weren't any distress signals sent after the initial calls? How did the blimp remain afloat and drift without its crew? An investigation was launched, but it failed to provide a conclusive explanation. Various theories were proposed, including a possible mechanical malfunction or gas leak that could have incapacitated the crew. However, none of these theories were proven, and the disappearance of the crew remained a mystery. To this day, the fate of Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams and the circumstances that led to their disappearance aboard the Ghost blimp in 1942 remain unresolved. The incident has become one of the enduring mysteries of aviation history, leaving unanswered questions and sparking speculation and intrigue about what might have happened on that fateful mission over the California coast. Our list wouldn't be complete without the baffling case of Frederick Valentich. In 1978, this 20-year-old Australian pilot took off from Moorabbin Airport in Melbourne, Australia, in a single-engine Cessna 182L aircraft. His destination was King Island, located in the Bass Strait between mainland Australia and Tasmania. Valentich was an experienced pilot with over 150 flight hours. However, approximately 40 minutes into the flight, he reported seeing an unidentified aircraft with unusual lights. He described the aircraft as not an aircraft and said it was orbiting his own plane. Valentich's conversation with ATC took a bizarre turn as he reported that the unidentified aircraft was hovering over him and that he was experiencing engine problems. He then stated, "It's not an aircraft," and the transmission ended abruptly with a series of metallic scraping sounds. Following this cryptic exchange, Valentich and his aircraft disappeared without a trace. Despite extensive search efforts over the Bass Strait, no wreckage or signs of his plane were ever found. The disappearance of Frederick Valentich and his Cessna 182L gave rise to numerous theories and speculations. Some initially suggested that Valentich may have staged the incident as a hoax, but this theory was largely discredited due to the absence of any motive or evidence to support it. Besides that, Valentich's reference to the mysterious aircraft and his subsequent disappearance led to speculation that he might have encountered an unidentified flying object, UFO. This theory garnered media attention and fueled public interest in UFOs. Another theory proposed that Valentich may have experienced spatial disorientation, causing him to misinterpret what he saw and leading to a loss of control over his aircraft. It's also possible that Valentich experienced a real aircraft emergency, such as engine failure or a malfunction, which ultimately led to his disappearance. An official investigation conducted by the Department of Transport could not definitively determine the cause of Valentich's disappearance. The final report listed the incident as unexplained. Before we unveil the final mystery, just a heads up that the sources and books that inspired this video and that can give you more information about these facts are in the description below, so go check it out. Last but not least, join us as we dive deep into the ocean to uncover the chilling secrets of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739. The mystery of Flying Tiger Line Flight 739 is a perplexing aviation incident involving the disappearance of a military charter flight over the Western Pacific Ocean in 1962. The aircraft was a Lockheed Super Constellation, a 4-engine propeller-driven airliner, and it was carrying 96 US soldiers and 11 crew members. Approximately 5 hours into the flight, the aircraft made its last routine radio communication. Everything appeared to be normal, and the flight was en route to Clark Air Base in the Philippines. Shortly after the last communication, Flight 739 inexplicably vanished without a distress call or any indication of trouble. Despite extensive search efforts conducted by the US military and civilian authorities, no wreckage, debris, or any trace of the aircraft was ever found. It was as if the aircraft and its 107 occupants had disappeared into thin air, which has led to various theories and speculations. Some experts proposed the possibility of a catastrophic mechanical failure or a structural issue that caused the aircraft to break apart mid-flight, leaving no identifiable wreckage. Some even suggested that the aircraft might have encountered severe weather that contributed to its disappearance. Although, given the Cold War context of the flight and the military personnel on board, theories of sabotage or hijacking were considered. However, no evidence supporting these claims ever surfaced. Despite extensive search efforts, no conclusive evidence was ever found to explain the disappearance of Flight 739. The official investigation was unable to determine the fate of the aircraft or the reason behind its disappearance. The incident was classified as presumed lost at sea. To this day, the fate of Flight 739 and the 107 people on board remains unknown, leaving unanswered questions and a haunting sense of mystery. So, there you have it, fellow seekers of the unknown, the most perplexing flight mysteries that continue to mystify and baffle us. Which one do you find the most intriguing? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated on all things mysterious right here on Atlas Anomalies. Until next time, keep your eyes on the skies and your mind open to the enigmas of the world. And as always, stay curious.